Police case number CSP 19-00250570/NCPD 19-6190, State of Connecticut vs. Traconis, Michelle, C., date of birth 09/26/1974, count 1, did commit the offense of conspiracy to commit/murder on or about 05/24/2019 in violation of General Statute Number, Sector 53A48/53A54A. Geographical area number 01, State of Connecticut vs. Traconis, Michelle, C., to any proper officer of the State of Connecticut by authority of the State of Connecticut, you are hereby commanded to arrest the body of the within named accused. XL/that apply. C. A. Accused is ordered to be brought before a clerk or assistant clerk of the Superior Court, 3B. Accused is not entitled to bail. If A, B, or both are checked above, you shall without undue delay bring the arrested person before the clerk or assistant clerk of the Superior Court for the geographical area where the offense is alleged to have been committed, or if the clerk's office is not open, to a community correctional center within said geographical area, or the nearest community correctional center if no such center. Information: State of Connecticut JDCR 71 Rev 3-11 Superior Court, Police Case Number CSP 19-00250570 NCPD 19-6190, exists in the geographical area, or to the correctional institution, as the case may be. Information: State of Connecticut JDCR 71 Rev 3-11 Superior Court, Police Case Number CSP 19-00250570 NCPD 19-6190, Agency Name CSP Western District Major Crime Squad, Agency Number N630 CLE. Conditions of release not determined by court. Application for arrest warrant. To a judge of the Superior Court, the undersigned hereby applies for a warrant for the arrest of the above-named accused on the basis of the facts set forth in the affidavit below. Affidavits attached. Affidavit. The undersigned affiant, being duly sworn, deposes and says, 1. Affiant, that your affiant, Detective John Kimball, is a member of the Connecticut State Police with 26 years of law enforcement experience. Your affiant has been assigned as a detective with the Western District Major Crime Squad, WDMCS, Troop G office for more than 10 years and has, at all pertinent times mentioned herein, been acting in his official capacity as a member of said department. The following facts and circumstances are stated from personal knowledge, observation, and investigation, as well as from information received from brother and sister officers acting in their official capacity. 2. Presentation. Due to the complex, interwoven, nonlinear nature of the facts and circumstances of this case, this affidavit includes paragraph headings and bold text, and some facts include source citations and brackets. 3. Initial missing person report that on Friday, May 24, 2019, at 6:59 p.m., the New Canaan Police Department, State of Connecticut Superior Court received the initial report of a missing person identified as Jennifer Dulos of 69, Wells Lane, New Canaan, Connecticut, referred to in this affidavit as Jennifer or as victim. NCPD officers responded to the 69, Wells Lane residence where they located suspected blood evidence on a Range Rover parked in the center garage bay. Jennifer was not located inside the residence. NCPD Investigation Division OFC Thomas Patton responded to the scene and located additional evidence indicative of a crime scene. NCPD contacted the Connecticut State Police for assistance, and detectives from the WDMCS Troop G office and the crime van responded to the scene. 4. Initial missing person case. The New Canaan Police Department initiated a missing person investigation which determined the following. The residence at 69, Wells Lane included a 3-bay garage, the center bay of which contained a 2014 Range Rover, New York plate, EMM 8328. The left, north, and right, south, bays were empty. While searching and processing the garage, members of the WDMCS crime van identified multiple areas within the garage which presumptively tested positive for blood. Investigators observed spatter stains on the driver's side of the Range Rover and on the garage floor north, left, of the Range Rover. Spatter stains are bloodstains resulting from airborne blood drops created when an external force is applied to liquid blood. Detectives also noted indications that the scene had been altered by an attempt to clean it. Detectives determined a 2017 Chevrolet Suburban, CT plate, AJ69099, registered to Jennifer Dulos, was missing from the residential garage. This vehicle was found by NCPD abandoned at approximately 7 p.m. on Lapham Road adjacent to the southwest portion of Waveny Park in New Canaan. The vehicle was unoccupied, its running lights were on, and its transmission was left in reverse. Jennifer was not found inside the vehicle or in the surrounding area. Investigators found stain spatter on the passenger side of the vehicle. Forensic results from crime scene evidence. Evidence recovered from the crime scene, 69, Wells Lane, New Canaan, Connecticut, was submitted to the Department of Emergency Services Public Protection, DESPP, Division of Scientific Services Forensic Laboratory for analysis. The table below lists a portion of the results gleaned from evidence submitted. Evidence description: results source, blood-like stain Land Rover hood DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, 69, Wells Lane Jennifer Dulos Range Rover, blood-like stain Land Rover bumper DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, 69, Wells Lane Jennifer Dulos Range Rover, blood-like stain Land Rover rear fender DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, 69, Wells Lane Jennifer Dulos Range Rover, blood-like stain from kitchen sink faucet mixture of Jennifer and Fotis DNA, 69, Wells Lane, New Canaan, CT, blood-like stain sink cabinet door. Positive for blood of Jennifer Dulos, 69, Wells Lane, New Canaan, CT, swabbing inside knob/plate mudroom door DNA match to Fotis Dulos, 69, Wells Lane, New Canaan, CT, blood-like stain garage door DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, 69, Wells Lane, New Canaan, CT, blood-like stain from east garage wall DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, 69, Wells Lane, New Canaan, Connecticut. 6. Fotis Dulos Associates. Detectives have identified the following persons as central to this investigation. Fotis Dulos. Fotis Dulos was the estranged husband of Jennifer Dulos, referenced in this affidavit as Dulos. Dulos resided at 4 Jefferson Crossing in Farmington, Connecticut. Dulos owned and operated a construction company named the 4 Group Incorporated out of an office at his residence. Dulos and the victim were married in 2006 and together they have 5 children. Michelle Troconis. Michelle Troconis was the girlfriend of Dulos who resided with him on Jefferson Crossing, referenced in this affidavit as Traconis. Powell Gumiani. Powell Gumiani was a full-time employee of 4 Group and he worked closely with Dulos. Affidavit: continued daily as a project manager for 4 Group. Gumiani regularly operated a Toyota Tacoma. Kent Mawani. Kent Mawani is practicing attorney and personal friend of Dulos. Andreas Tautsieritis, childhood friend of Dulos who lives in Greece. 7. Vehicles. Detectives checked the collect system to locate vehicles registered to the 4 Group Incorporated, the company owned and operated by Fotis Dulos, and for other vehicles associated with his employees. The results of these searches included the following vehicles: 2015 Chevrolet Suburban, CT plate, 9745cc, a black Chevrolet Suburban registered to the 4 Group and regularly operated by Dulos. 2014 Jeep Cherokee, CT plate, AK25389, a white Jeep Cherokee Laredo registered to the 4 Group and operated by Dulos, Traconis, and Gumiani. 2014 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor, CT plate, 910YFC, a high-performance pickup truck, black in color, registered to 4 Group and commonly operated by Dulos. 2001 Toyota Tacoma, CT plate, 6617CN, a red Toyota Tacoma pickup truck registered to Gumiani's wife, Barbara Gumiani. According to Gumiani, his wife normally drove her own vehicle and he used the Toyota Tacoma for transportation to and from the Farmington area in connection to his employment by Fotis Dulos Company. During Gumiani's work week, he indicated he was usually provided a 4 Group vehicle to operate. 8. Initial contact with Fotis Dulos. On May 25, 19 at approximately 2:47 p.m., Dulos entered the lobby of the New Canaan Police Department and was met by OFC Patton and CSP Detective Christopher Allegro nearly 3 hours after his initial expected arrival. When asked about his attorney, Dulos indicated the lawyer, Jacob Pytranker, was outside talking on the phone. Dulos asked investigators if there was any news on his wife's disappearance and was told detectives were seeking his help in finding her. OFC Patton told Dulos that he would be entering a secure area of the facility and asked if he had any weapons or contraband. As Dulos began pulling items from his clothing pockets, almost immediately he began patting his own pockets and muttering, "Where is my phone?" At approximately this time, Pytranker entered the lobby and announced to police that Dulos would be providing no interview and that he and Dulos would be leaving. Detectives were surprised to hear that Dulos was not going to help in the search for Jennifer, and they began to look for clarification from Dulos and Pytranker. As this discussion was taking place, Pytranker handed Dulos the cell phone he was carrying. Detective Allegro spoke up to ask Dulos, "Is that your phone?" and Dulos responded affirmatively. Detective Allegro asked to see the phone, and Dulos handed over the phone with no apparent hesitation. Observing the phone was locked with a 4-digit passcode, Detective Allegro asked for the unlock code. Dulos provided the code as 0-0-0-0, and Detective Allegro unlocked the phone. As he placed the phone into airplane mode, a setting which removes the cell phone from the network, thus preventing the data on the phone from being remotely erased, Pytranker asked Detective Allegro what he was doing. Detective Allegro responded that he was securing the cellular phone and the data. Affidavit continued contains because of his belief that the phone contained evidence related to the disappearance of Jennifer Dulos. He further indicated that a search-seizure warrant, SSW, would be sought to authorize a search of the cell phone for such evidence. Dulos responded by saying nothing. NCPD surveillance video documented the transaction and showed Dulos appearing agitated and confused. Pytranker asserted that police had no grounds to seize the cell phone because they had no warrant. Detectives acknowledged that a SSW would be sought and that the cell phone would not be searched until a lawful SSW had been issued. Their actions were restricted to the securing of the cell phone and the prevention of potential destruction of evidence contained within the phone. Pytranker responded by saying he needed a moment with his client, and both men walked out of the NCPD lobby. 9. Search warrant for Dulosi primary cell phone, 860-478-8625 on May 25, 19. The same day Dulos' cell phone was seized at approximately 2:47 p.m. Detectives presented an affidavit in Stamford Superior Court outlining facts known as of 2:47 p.m. that date. Upon review, the court issued a search-seizure warrant at 8:50 p.m. for Dulos' handset seized earlier that date. As investigation progressed, a second cellular handset with a separate cellular number was seized from Dulos. For clarity, the last 4 digits of Dulos' cell phones are referenced, in this case 862510. Initial Hartford information, on May 26, 19. A forensic examination of Dulos' 8625 cell phone provided information that Dulos' handset was in the area of Albany Avenue in Hartford during the 7 o'clock hour of May 24, 19. 11. Albany Avenue video canvas, starting on May 27, 19. WDMCS detectives began to canvass the area of Fairmont Street, Green Street, and Albany Avenue in the city of Hartford, which resulted in the development of footage showing a large, dark-colored pickup truck consistent with the 2014 Ford Raptor registered to 4 group traveling in the area on May 24, 19 at approximately 7:40 p.m. 12. Hartford, CA surveillance video, on May 30, 19. WDMCS detectives contacted the Hartford Police Department Special Operations Group, Capital City Command Center, C4, and requested their assistance in determining Dulos' activities in the area of Albany Avenue. C4 located a male wearing a light-colored shirt, dark pants, and ball cap. This individual was subsequently identified as Dulos. He was observed operating a large, black-colored pickup truck which was later identified as a 2014 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor pickup truck, CT plate 910YFC, registered to the 4 Group Incorporated. A female passenger in the Ford Raptor was shown on surveillance and subsequently identified as Dulos' girlfriend, Michelle Troconis. C4 mapped out Dulos' movements as he deposited multiple black-colored plastic garbage bags into several trash receptacles during the evening of May 24, 19. The mapping included the following points: 7:31:26 p.m. A black Ford Raptor enters the area of Albany Avenue covered by Hartford police surveillance cameras from the west. 07:32:01 p.m. A Ford Raptor is shown traveling eastbound along Albany Avenue. 07:32:07 p.m. A Ford Raptor turns right from Albany Avenue onto southbound Milford Street. As the vehicle affidavit continued passes through the camera's field of view, several plastic bags can be seen in the rear bed of the pickup. At this point, the truck travels through a portion of city streets not covered by surveillance cameras for approximately 7 minutes. 7:39:13 p.m. A Ford Raptor reemerges onto Albany Avenue and turns right to travel eastbound again. At approximately 7:39 p.m., the vehicle stops at Albany Avenue and Garden Street, and the male gets out of the driver's seat, grabs a black plastic bag and places it into a trash receptacle on the sidewalk. The camera angle shows the rear bed of the truck is now largely empty of bags. 7:40:57 p.m. A Ford Raptor continues eastbound on Albany Avenue until it reaches Center Street, where the driver conducts a U-turn to travel westbound again along Albany Avenue. As the truck passes the camera, the rear bed of the truck is seen to hold only one black plastic bag. 7:41:24 p.m. A Ford Raptor is shown from behind traveling westbound on Albany Avenue and stopping at Green Street. The male emerges from the driver's seat, retrieves the last garbage bag while standing to the rear of the truck, and discards the bag into the trash can. 7:50:05 p.m. A Ford Raptor travels westbound along towards Albany Avenue until it passes out of the area of surveillance coverage at approximately 7:50 p.m. 13. Additional C4 video. C4 video showed Dulos remove what appeared to be a large, rigid object from the rear of the Ford Raptor and lean it up against a building. The object was consistent with the appearance of a WeatherTech brand rear cargo liner determined to be missing from Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban. C4 video also showed an unidentified person removing what appeared to be a light-colored piece of material containing a large blood-like stain. This item appeared consistent with one of two small camping pillows which Jennifer's nanny, Lauren Almeida, reported were missing from the garage storage shelves at the 69 Wells Lane crime scene. Investigators subsequently identified and interviewed the homeless male who told investigators he had seen what he described as a bloody pillow, but he had not taken the item. 14. Recovery of evidence from Albany Avenue. Detectives checked trash receptacles shown on surveillance and recovered garbage bags consistent with the black garbage bags shown on C4 video. What appeared to be cut clothing and undergarments with a blood-like substance, BLS, plastic zip ties containing BLS, other items and household goods, e.g. kitchen sponge, with blood-like stains, and other household trash items. Numerous items recovered from trash receptacles corresponding to dump locations shown on C4 video were submitted to the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, DESPP, Division of Forensic Science Laboratory located at 278 Colony Street in Meriden, Connecticut. Refer to table on next page, evidence description results source, blood-like stain from paper towel DNA match to Jennifer Dulos Gubra bag Albany Avenue. Blue Hills Avenue, sponge DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street, MO handle DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bot Albany Avenue / Green Street, black garden glove DNA match to Fotis Dulos, interior, garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street, black husky gloves DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, exterior, garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street, Vine Art Vine Street Ed shirt XS DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green St. Intimissimi bra DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street, clear ancho, without hood, DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street, clear ancho, with hood. DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albin Avenue / Green Street. 4. Zip ties DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albin Avenue / Green Street. Standard textile brand bath towel DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albin Avenue / Green Street. 2. Plastic garbage bags taped together W/black tape DNA match to both Jennifer Dulos Michelle Troconis garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street. 1. Black lawstick bag W/black tape DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street. 4. Pieces of black bag with duct tape right index finger print of Fotis Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green St. 1. Torn black plastic garbage bag tied in a knot on one side with red/brown stains and black tape attached to inside of bag right middle fingerprint of Fotis Dulos left middle fingerprint Fotis Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street. Swab bin dot of bag / interior of knot DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street. Blood-like stain on ancho DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street. Swabbing from trash bag DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green St. Swabbing from tangle of black tape DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street. Blood-like stain from exterior of non-damaged plastic bag DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street. Swabbing of sticky side of duct tape located on interior of bag DNA match to Jennifer Dulos garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green Street. Swabbing of bag opening and separate bag portion DNA match to Jennifer Dulos. DNA match to Fotis Dulos. DNA match to Michelle Troconis garbage bag Albany Avenue / Green St. 15. Recovery of altered license plates. CA surveillance video also showed Dulos placing a large, white-colored item into a storm drain at the intersection of Albany Avenue and Adams Street. Detectives and Metropolitan District Commission personnel responded to the intersection and accessed the drain. A large, white-colored FedEx envelope was removed from the drain and secured by detectives. The envelope was found to contain 2 Connecticut passenger plates which initially appeared to read 5T6WBU. Upon closer inspection, detectives discovered the plate had been altered using what appeared to be blue tape and a clear adhesive. A collect/NCIC check of the plate as it appeared to read 5T6WBU yielded no information. When detectives determined the actual plates were 516WDJ, a collect/NCIC check of the actual alphanumeric listed the plate as canceled on a 2007 Chevrolet Suburban registered to Fotis Dulos. 16. Arrest number 1 of Fotis Dulos Michelle Troconis. Based on the above facts and circumstances, detectives sought an arrest warrant for Dulos and Traconis on charges stemming from the disposal of evidence in Jennifer's disappearance along Albany Avenue in Hartford. On June 1, 19 arrest warrants for Dulos and Traconis were authorized and executed charging both individuals with tampering with / or fabricating physical evidence, Sector 53A155, A1, CGS, and for hindering prosecution in the first degree, Sector 53A165AA, A, CGS. 17. Initial interview with Michelle Troconis. As of the drafting of this affidavit, Dulos has provided absolutely no cooperation to law enforcement in their investigation into Jennifer's disappearance. Investigators have turned to Dulos' girlfriend, Michelle Troconis, for assistance. Starting on May 24, 19, NCPD personnel reached out several times to Traconis, leaving multiple phone messages for her to call back. Traconis failed to respond to any of the NCPD messages. On June 2, 19 detectives conducted the first interview with Traconis at NCPD headquarters following her initial arrest on the above charges. Traconis' attorney, Andrew Bowman, was present in the room during all questioning. During this initial interview, Traconis offered her first version of the events of the date of Jennifer's disappearance, Friday, May 24, 19, as well as the circumstances leading up to that day, 18. Traconis' explanation of alibi scripts. On June 3, 19, the day after Traconis' first interview, WDMC's crime van detectives were executing a search warrant at 4 Jefferson Crossing when they located a set of handwritten notes. These documents came to be referred to by investigators as the alibi script. The two-page document included two distinct handwriting styles which were later confirmed by Troconis to be her own handwriting and that of Dulos. The alibi script was an outline of the activities of Traconis and Dulos for the dates May 24, 19 and May 25, 19 laid out in approximately hourly increments. The original, handwritten alibi script was recovered from a trash bin in the 4-group office and photocopies were in a briefcase. The alibi script included a narrative which was nearly identical to the information provided by Troconis in her first interview, and it represented an account of May 24, 19 and May 25, 19 which Dulos and Troconis together had authored and which narrative Troconis presented nearly verbatim in her first interview. In her second two interviews, Troconis' account of those dates diverged from the alibi script, particularly when confronted with evidence, much of which was unknown to investigators during the first interview. It is therefore important to describe the various sources of information developed thus far during this investigation, interview number 2, starting in her second interview. Troconis provided the following reasons for why she and Dulos had written out the alibi scripts. Troconis stated that on either Saturday, May 25, 19 or Sunday, 5/27/19 she was present for a phone conversation between Dulos and his family attorney, Jacob Pytranker, in which Pytranker instructed Dulos to write out a precise timeline of his actions on Wednesday, May 22, 19, the date of his last visitation with his children, which had occurred, in part, at Jennifer's home, 69, Wells Lane. Troconis reported the attorney had told Dulos to write down everything he had done during the visit to Jennifer's home. Pytranker specifically told Dulos to record whether or not he had entered Jennifer's home. Troconis remembered being surprised that Dulos had been to Jennifer's home that date because Dulos had told her the visitation occurred at Grace Farms in New Canaan. Troconis continued, Fotis goes, "No, I did not go in the house, And he, Pytranker, said, "Make sure." "Where did you guys eat?" Dulos continued to say, "No, I didn't go inside the house, but, yes, I hugged the kids, we played, I don't know if a hair went in." Following the call, Troconis confronted Dulos, 1-1M like, "Fotis, where were you on Wednesday? Because you told me you went to Grace Farms." Dulos admitted he had gone to Jennifer's house and added they had eaten outside. Troconis reported Dulos had told her, "Jacob was saying write down everything as you were by the time you spent in Jennifer's house." "Where did you eat? Did you put any plates inside the house? Do you remember going to the bathroom?" Dulos repeated to Troconis that he had not entered Jennifer's home. Detectives pointed out that in recording their timelines, both she and Dulos had chosen to omit the trip to dump trash in Hartford, to which Troconis replied, "No." When Troconis was told this looked bad, that she and Dulos had failed to record potentially incriminating information, Troconis replied, "Okay, I know." Troconis denied that Dulos had told her to leave certain items out of the script. She reported Dulos had told her to write out the highlights of her day's events. When asked if Dulos was dictating what story Troconis should tell police, she responded, "Well, obviously it was for me to say it, but he was trying to be more accurate, but with a lie." "With a lie, a lie. That's what I'm saying. He was trying to fill things that I don't remember with things that didn't. It wasn't true." 19. Sources of information. Troconis submitted to 2 subsequent voluntary interviews in the presence of her attorney in which she presented vastly different accounts of the events of May 24, 19. Additionally, the later seizure and search warrant execution on Dulos and Troconis' cell phone provided another source of information. Detectives also secured various sources of residential and commercial surveillance footage. Therefore, these sources of information for Troconis included: 1. Interview number 1, date, June 2, 19, 2. Alibi scripts, date, June 3, 19, 3. Interview number 2, date, June 6, 19, 4. Interview number 3, date, August 13, 19, 5. Troconis' cell phone data, 6. Dulos' cell phone data, 7. Residential surveillance, 20. Troconis' interview claims. In each of her interviews, Troconis offered claims which conflicted with her other interviews, and even, sometimes, portions of that same interview. When confronted with conflicts in the information she was providing, whether they be inconsistencies with other answers or contradictions to surveillance sources, Troconis would only provide more truthful information, sometimes modifying or changing her answer in the middle of it. 21. Dulos' whereabouts. During her 3 interviews, Troconis provided a variety of explanations when asked if Dulos was home at 4 Jefferson Crossing in Farmington when she awoke. On May 24, 19, both she and Dulos had woke up at their residence at 6:40 a.m. She told investigators that she and Dulos had showered and were intimate together before she made breakfast for her daughter and then drove her to school. Note: this is inconsistent with information from the forensic download of Dulos' L. 8625 cell phone, which indicated on May 24, 19, the alarm activated at 4:20 a.m. and was shut off at 4:21 a.m. When pressed on whether Dulos was home that morning, Troconis admitted, so maybe he, Dulos, wasn't home the entire morning. But Troconis continued to still provide Dulos with an alibi for that morning from 6:40 a.m. until 8:15 a.m. She reported last seeing Dulos that morning at 8:15 a.m. in the 4 group office with Mawani. Troconis explained that she was out of the house from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., which provides her with plausible deniability. When asked to clarify if Dulos was home on the morning of May 24, 19, Troconis did not answer the question. Instead, she immediately began telling investigators what SHE had been doing by saying, "All my morning I have doing he was in the house. I have texts." Detectives continued to ask about Dulos' whereabouts and Troconis ultimately acknowledged, so maybe he wasn't home. Interview number 2. From the very beginning of the second interview, Troconis continued to lie about seeing Dulos on the morning of May 24, 19. Troconis was asked if Dulos is at the home when she woke up at 6:40 a.m. Troconis first reported, "He was there when we woke up. He was in the house." When Troconis was told investigators had evidence showing Dulos was not in the house, Troconis replied, "Okay." Troconis proceeded to cover her face with her hands, wipe her eyes, and then tried to change the subject. Troconis' attorney, Andrew Bowman, tried to clarify with Troconis to see if she actually saw Dulos on the morning of May 24, 19. Troconis hedged her answer but acquiesced that she did not see Dulos on that day until between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. Troconis was asked if there was tension between Dulos and herself because of his divorce and the problems surrounding it. Her response was, "We fight all the time." Detectives asked Troconis if the turmoil might be a motivating factor to get rid of Jennifer. Troconis reported that Dulos had expressed to her that he never thought Jennifer would do this to him, and that he never saw this side of her. Troconis also conveyed Dulos had told her, "Sometimes I hope she disappears." Interview number 3. In this interview, Troconis' statements included, investigators asked Troconis if she is ready to admit that she was not 100% truthful with continued investigators during her first 2 interviews. Troconis hesitated before answering yes. Investigators asked Troconis if Dulos was home when she shut off her alarm on May 24, 19 at 6:40 a.m. Troconis began shaking her head left to right as she responded, "No." Detectives confirmed, "Elu was not there?" Troconis answered, "No." Investigators asked Troconis if she showered that morning with Dulos. Troconis responded, "No, I didn't." Troconis ultimately admitted she had not seen Dulos in the bedroom, in the shower, or anywhere else in the house that morning until noontime when Dulos called up to her for lunch. 22. For group meeting Dulos' cell phone, Troconis told investigators in her first interview that there was a 4-group meeting on the morning of May 24, 19 in the office area of 4 Jefferson Crossing, which was attended by Dulos and Kent Mawani. Troconis' account was contradicted by her subsequent claims and by Mawani, interview number 1. During the initial interview, Traconis' claims included, Troconis reported that Dulos was in the 4-group office section of the residence conducting a business meeting with attorney Kent Mawani the morning of May 24, 19 at approximately 8:15 a.m. She ultimately told 3 different versions of this meeting. Troconis first said she saw Mawani and Dulos both sitting at a table talking with one another. Later, Troconis indicated she only heard Mawani and Dulos talking but never saw the two of them together sitting at the table. And finally, Troconis reported she only heard Mawani talking but did not see or hear Dulos. Troconis stated she greeted Mawani in the 4-group office that morning. In an interview, Mawani admitted to investigators he was at the 4-group office that morning but stated he never saw Troconis, interview number 2. In this interview, Troconis' statements included: Troconis was asked if Mawani was in the 4-group office on the morning of May 24, 19, to which she began nodding her head and saying, "Yes, that I did see." She stated Mawani had a meeting that morning with Dulos. She continued to maintain that Dulos was present in the office at approximately 8:20 or 8:30 a.m. Troconis added that she had greeted Mawani by saying, "Hi." When Troconis was asked if she knew the whereabouts of Dulos' cell phone that morning, she replied that she thought Dulos had his cell phone. When asked if Dulos would normally carry his cell phone with him, Troconis responded, "Yes, and no, but a lot yes." Troconis answered that it would be unusual for Dulos to be without his phone even for a few hours. Troconis left open the possibility that Dulos had left his cell phone behind accidentally. But when questioned, Troconis reported Dulos had not told her he forgot his cell phone on May 24, 19. Interview number 3. During her third interview, Troconis provided the following information. Troconis told detectives that after returning from dropping off her daughter at school, she had gone into the 4-group office and had seen Mawani at the far end of the glass table. Upon seeing Mawani, she said good morning to him and he had responded, "Hello, good morning." Troconis then noticed that Dulos' cell phone was sitting on the table and she found it unusual that the cell phone was there at a time when Dulos was not present and his whereabouts were unknown to her. Under repeated questioning by detectives, Troconis was unwilling to say that Dulos was not at the residence. She would only say that she did not see Dulos during the morning, not in the bedroom, not in the kitchen, not in the 4-group office, and that she did not know his whereabouts during the entire morning. Having seen his phone on the desk, Troconis reported she had assumed Dulos was at the residence. Thought he, Dulos, was there, because Kent was there but I didn't see him, Dulos. I didn't see him. Troconis later added, "You back then I always thought he, Dulos, was in the house, but thinking I never saw him. I never heard his voice. So obviously he wasn't or probably he wasn't in the house." 23. Incoming phone call from Arrest Affidavit. Dulos' phone records showed an incoming call to his cell phone on May 24, 19 at 8:24 a.m. This call was prearranged by Dulos the previous day with his friend, Arrest Affidavit, who lives in Greece. Interview number 1. The incoming call from Affidavit was not mentioned by Troconis during the first interview. Interview number 2. Troconis did not discuss the call from Greece during this interview. She continued to claim no knowledge that Dulos did not have his cell phone that day. Interview number 3. In this interview, Troconis changed her entire story regarding the presence/absence of Dulos' cell phone that day by acknowledging Dulos' cell phone was sitting on the 4-group office as she and Kent Mawani stood in the office, and that it received an incoming call on that date. The phone rang and it was a call from, well, it said Andreas, and Kent stood up. According to Traconis, Mawani motioned for her to answer the cell phone. In answering a question from attorney Bowman, Traconis responded. He, Mawani, said, like, there's a phone ringing. Are you going to do something with the phone or the call? And I picked up the phone. Traconis stated she knew Affidavit, a childhood friend of Dulos who lives in Greece, but that she was not sure if it was Affidavit calling. Traconis also indicated she heard static when she answered the cell phone, and that it was difficult to hear. Traconis reported she then heard the Greek word for hello, and she responded, hola, the Spanish word for hello. Traconis explained that the call was short and lasted only a few seconds before ending. Dulos' cell phone data shows a 17-second phone call. Traconis stated, and I'm pretty sure it was Andreas' voice. Traconis indicated there was no follow-up phone call and that soon after the call she left the office, leaving Dulos' cell phone sitting on the table. 24. Troconis' morning alibis. Troconis provided herself with several methods for investigators to rule out her presence at the crime scene on the morning of May 24, 19. Interview number 11. During her initial interview, Troconis made the following claims. She left Jefferson Crossing on May 24, 19 at approximately 9:10 a.m. and dropped off an item to a friend, thereby providing herself with an in-person alibi before traveling north to the Simsbury Stop Shop, where she took photographs of herself and a store robot, providing a secondary alibi. On her way home, Traconis stopped by an additional address in West Simsbury where she met with a different friend, providing a third alibi. When asked if Dulos was home on the morning of May 24, 19, Traconis responded by telling detectives that her locations were substantiated by photographs and texts on her cell phone. She did not answer the actual question asked, Interview number 2. Without prompting, Traconis provided a description of the clothing she was wearing at the Simsbury Stop Shop to help investigators identify her on store surveillance. Interview number 3. Detectives continued to question Traconis about the alibi scripts, which Traconis admitted having written with Dulos. Although she appeared to deflect more of the onus for writing the document onto Dulos, investigators pointed out that he wrote notes for Michelle, which were false. Traconis grudgingly admitted that portions of the alibi scripts were factually inaccurate and that she had, nonetheless, provided these falsehoods to police as facts. 25. Traconis' lunch with Dulos on May 24, 19. Traconis was inconsistent when questioned about Dub's arrival home at Jefferson Crossing for their lunch together on 05/24/19, Interview number 11. Traconis reported returning to Jefferson Crossing at approximately 12 p.m. She stated the Ford Raptor was not on the property because Gumiani was driving it. Traconis stated the 4-Group Chevrolet Suburban was there. Detectives asked Traconis if anyone else was at the house at noon. She responded, I had lunch with Fotis but later not immediately. Detectives asked Traconis to be clear if Fotis was home when Traconis returned to the house as late as noon. Traconis responded, he probably can be because he has the office on top. I didn't look for him. Traconis reported a different time frame for the lunch she ate with Dulos on May 24, 19. Interview number 1. Traconis first reported 1 p.m. She then changed the time to between 1 p.m. and 2 o'clock. Interview number 2. Sometime prior to 1 p.m. Interview number 3. Between noon and 1:30 p.m. Alibi scripts, between noon and 1 p.m. Surveillance shows the Toyota Tacoma pulling into 80 Mountain Spring Road at 12:25 p.m. Interview number 2. During her second interview, Traconis explained when Dulos returned home for lunch that day he was wearing jeans and a light shirt with short sleeves, similar to polo, whereas during the third interview, Traconis claimed Dulos was wearing a collared, button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up, and that he appeared normal, Interview number 3. In this interview, Traconis admitted she could not account for Dulos' whereabouts on the morning of May 24, 19. When asked if she could confirm Dulos' whereabouts on the morning of May 24, 19, she acknowledged she could not. Traconis claimed that she had not found it unusual for Dulos to have absolutely no contact with her during the entire morning of May 24, 19. She claimed on some days they speak 20 times while on other days they had no contact at all. 26. 80 Mountain Spring Road. The property located at 80 Mountain Spring Road is a large, isolated property owned by 4-Group, and it includes a massive, 11,000-plus square foot mansion with 5 bedrooms, 5 full and 3 half baths, situated on a 5.08-acre lot. The location is a 5-minute, 2.1-mile drive from 4 Jefferson Crossing. Throughout her 3 interviews, Traconis provided vastly differing accounts, all of which conflicted with location data gleaned from Dulos and Traconis' cell phones. Interview number 1. In her initial interview, Traconis provided the following information. Traconis reported Dulos called her on her phone to tell her they both had to go over to 80 Mountain Spring Road to clean the house in preparation for a client meeting the next morning. She described it as common for them to use their cell phones to call one another. Traconis had to bring a vacuum, a Swiffer mop, paper towels, Clorox spray, and garbage bags. Traconis reported she and Dulos drove the 2.1 miles south to 80 Mountain Spring Road in separate vehicles sometime between 2:15 p.m. and 3 p.m. Residential surveillance shows Dulos driving his 2015 Chevrolet Suburban, followed by Traconis driving a 2014 Jeep Cherokee registered to the 4 group, arriving at 80 Mountain Spring Road at 1:36 p.m. Soon after arriving, Traconis reported she discovered the vacuum she had brought did not work. She explained how she returned to Jefferson Crossing to obtain a small broom. In order to clarify her story, detectives asked Traconis what she first saw when she drove into the driveway of 80 Mountain Spring Road. She reported seeing the Suburban already parked with Dulos standing inside garage bay. Traconis indicated that at approximately 3 p.m. she returned to Jefferson Crossing. She explained the way the Jeep was parked. It was easier to drive the Suburban. Traconis reported she went back to 80 Mountain Spring Road between 3:40 p.m. and 4 p.m. When she arrived, she observed Dulos talking on his phone out in the area of the driveway where the cars are parked. Traconis began cleaning windows, but then gave up because she realized the house was too big. Interview number 2. Traconis continued to claim she did not know what Dulos was doing on the property. When Traconis was told that Dulos had killed his wife and involved her, Traconis, in the cleanup, she responded by saying, "That's like even worse. I hate him because of that." Affiant Kimball told Traconis, "Got you in trouble?" Traconis replied, "But I was cleaning the house. I wasn't cleaning Jennifer." Interview number 3. During the third interview, Traconis provided some entirely new information. During interviews 1 and 2, Traconis repeatedly told investigators she had been cleaning windows while at 80 Mountain Spring Road. During the third interview, Traconis began claiming she had been cleaning bathrooms. Traconis indicated that when Gumiani arrived at 80 Mountain Spring Road at approximately 5 p.m., she and Dulos had been standing up against the Toyota Tacoma's passenger side. Fotis, Dulos and I were against the car. The Tacoma. Fotis was like behind me. Like physical contact. Powell, Gumiani, arrives. I think Powell or Fotis says I didn't see anything, or we weren't doing anything. I think something like a joke. When asked to explain her meaning, and Traconis answered, like, "Yeah, we were making." Traconis appeared to be saying that Gumiani's arrival interrupted Dulos and Traconis from engaging in sex alongside the passenger side of the Toyota. Traconis told investigators that she was inside 80 Mountain Spring Road when Dulos came inside looking for paper towels because he had spilled something in the Toyota Tacoma. Supposedly Dulos went back outside to clean out a spilled coffee, and then he returned to her and handed her the paper towel which she threw in the garbage. Traconis explained, he, Dulos, said that he spilled. I think it was coffee. When asked where Dulos had spilled the coffee, Traconis responded, in one of the cars. That's what he told me. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but the paper towel was dirty. Traconis indicated the used paper towel had been brown in color. She also told investigators that the soiled paper towel did not smell like coffee. In all 3 interviews, Traconis described how she repeatedly drove back and forth between 80 Mountain Spring Road and 4 Jefferson Crossing using both the Jeep and the Suburban. The timing she provided is not corroborated by the cellular data of Traconis and Dulos' cell phones. Dulos appears to remain at 80 Mountain Spring Road from approximately 1:36 p.m. until approximately 4:07 p.m. approximately 2% hours, 27. Albany Avenue, Hartford. Starting in her first interview, Traconis told investigators that between 6:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. Dulos had offered to go to a Starbucks located in West Hartford. Interview number 1. Traconis explained that she and Dulos rode towards the Starbucks in the Ford Raptor. Traconis reported she was on her phone and was not aware of what was going on. Dulos drove past the Starbucks to what Traconis described as the creepy area, which was a crowded place with fire and police vehicles. Traconis explained, he, Dulos, stopped and we stopped. He throws something from the back. A bag or I don't know what. I wasn't really paying attention. Traconis asked Dulos, why are we here? Like, it doesn't make sense. She went on to state, We've thrown garbage bags and other opportunities, but I've never been in that area. Troconis described how Dulos threw at least one garbage bag into a dumpster. Interview number 1. Detectives showed Troconis screenshots taken from the C4 surveillance footage showing the large, black-colored pickup truck and the male wearing the light-colored shirt, dark pants, and ball cap. Troconis identified the male as Dulos and the truck as the 2014 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor pickup truck, CT plate, 910YFC, registered to 4 Group. Troconis also confirmed she was the female passenger pictured leaning out of the passenger side door of the Ford Raptor. Detectives asked Troconis what was in the back of the Raptor. She responded, "Don't know. I don't know. I wasn't looking. I was on the phone. I was probably talking to Petu. My friend, Petu." Interview number 1. Troconis explained that following the Albany Avenue leg of their trip, she and Dulos went to the Starbucks. Video footage from the Starbucks showed Dulos and Troconis entering the store on May 24, 19 and purchasing food and drink at approximately 7:59 p.m. Interview number 2. The Albany Avenue trip was not discussed during the second interview. Interview number 3. During her interview, Troconis began changing elements of her story. She changed her explanation of the items she was instructed by Dulos to bring to 80 Mountain Spring Road and of her activities at that location. Troconis listed the items she brought to 80 Mountain Spring Road. 1 brought a bucket, a sponge, garbage bags, disposable gloves. Troconis described the items. The bucket is white. The sponge is yellow and green. The garbage bags, Troconis also brought Windex, Clorox bleach, vacuum, broom, paper towels. Investigators asked Troconis what she was planning on cleaning. She responded, "The house. And I wasn't going to clean it all." Interview number 3. Troconis told investigators she arrived at 80 Mountain Spring Road driving the Jeep Cherokee as Dulos drove the 2015 Suburban. When they arrived, Gumianel's Toyota Tacoma was already present. Troconis claimed to have no knowledge of why or how the Toyota came to be on the property. Troconis claimed she was inside 80 Mountain Spring Road cleaning bathrooms when she saw Dulos from the master bathroom window. She claimed Dulos was setting up stakes to keep people from parking on the newly seeded grass. At some point, Dulos went down into the basement of 80 Mountain Spring Road, after which she returned to 4 Jefferson Crossing for a broom. Investigators asked Troconis if there is anything going on at 80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, that she doesn't want to be a part of. Troconis replied, "No. Not that I know. Not of my knowledge." Interview number 3. Troconis told investigators that she was inside the residence cleaning when Dulos came inside looking for paper towels, claiming he spilled something. Troconis explained that Dulos went out to clean and returned to her and gave her the paper towel he had used, which she threw in the garbage. Troconis explained Dulos had claimed he was cleaning spilled coffee. When detectives asked where Dulos had spilled the coffee, she responded, "In the inn, in one of the cars. That's what he told me. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but the paper towel was dirty." When asked about the color of the soiled towel, Troconis reported it as brown. Investigators told Troconis it was difficult to believe she didn't know what was going on, and Troconis responded by saying, "Didn't know what was going on, and up to now I didn't see anything." Investigators asked where Dulos was cleaning the coffee stains, and she said, "One believe it was in the Tacoma." 28. Russell Speeder's car wash. Investigation determined that on May 29, 19 and Traconis together shuttled Gumianel's Toyota Tacoma pickup truck to Russell Speeder's car wash, 265 West Main Street in Avon, Connecticut, in order to have the vehicle thoroughly cleaned and detailed. Dulos paid $250 in cash to have these services performed and did so without Gumiani's knowledge or permission. Residential surveillance from Jefferson Crossing showed a black Chevrolet Yukon followed by a red Toyota pickup driving on Jefferson Crossing towards Ely Road at 8:56 a.m. During interview number 3, Traconis indicated Dulos was driving the Tacoma and she was operating the Yukon as they drove to Russell Speeder's car wash in Avon. Russell Speeder's surveillance footage showed the Toyota pickup entering the parking lot area at approximately 9:05 a.m. Dulos can be seen entering the lobby and speaking with a Russell Speeders representative who records the following information on a detail log sheet for the vehicle. The name field is left blank. The phone number recorded is Traconis L cellular number 305-331-5232. The vehicle field is filled out as a Toyota Sienna. The time field is recorded as 8:44. The detail field is marked full. The price field is marked 250.00. According to Traconis, Dulos got into the Chevrolet Yukon and the two traveled to the law offices of attorney Andrew Bowman, who currently represents Traconis. At approximately 1:39 p.m. Traconis' phone records show an incoming call from 860-269-3136, which is the listed business phone number of Russell Speeders' car, Washington. At approximately 2:28 p.m., Traconis' phone records place her cell phone in the area of the People's United Bank located at 310 West Main Street in Avon. At approximately 2:28 p.m. Russell Speeders' surveillance shows Dulos entering the lobby to pay for the detailing of the Toyota. Both Dulos and Traconis were arrested on September 4, 19 and September 5, 19 respectively, largely based on their roles outlined above to tamper with / or fabricate physical evidence, in violation of Section 53A155A1 of the Connecticut General Statutes. 29. 2001 Toyota Tacoma. On June 6, 19 detectives seized the 2001 Toyota Tacoma, Connecticut combination plate 6617CN, at the residence of Powell Gumiani. During the search warrant execution, Gumiani told detectives that the seats which were installed in the Toyota were different from the seats which had been in the truck on 05/24/19. Gumiani signed a written consent to search form and he provided the seats to police voluntarily. Pursuant to a Joyce warrant, the seats were sent to the DESPP Forensic Laboratory for testing. The results indicted Jennifer Dulos. Blood was found on the passenger seat of the vehicle, the bicycle. Powell Gumiani told investigators he was aware that Dulos owned an older model, black or brown bicycle which he had brought with him when he moved to the United States. Dulos had told Gumiani the bike was made in France and was his childhood bicycle. Dulos had asked Gumiani to fix the bicycle during the fall of 2018 or the beginning of 2019. Gumiani remembered the bicycle had been routinely stored on a hook in the garage at 4 Jefferson Crossing. During interview number 3, Traconis reported seeing such a bicycle at 80 Mountain Spring Road. When detectives showed Traconis photographs of the interior of the 4 Jefferson Crossing garage taken on June 3, 19, she indicated Dulos' bicycle was missing from the photo. Traconis pointed out the empty hook where Dulos' bike normally hanged. Evidence recovered from the Albany Avenue trash receptacles contained a logo consistent with a vintage Mercier brand bicycle, a French-made bicycle consistent with Gumiani's description. Detectives located photographs taken in 2008 at a residence shared by Jennifer and Fotis Dulos which showed a dark-colored, vintage bicycle which was consistent with Mercier bicycle. On the day of Jennifer's disappearance, residential surveillance footage on which straw individual dressed in a hooded sweatshirt and dark clothing riding a bicycle consistent with Dulos' bike towards Jennifer's residence. 31. Surveillance timeline. That detectives conducted an extensive canvass for surveillance sources along various routes in the Farmington/Avon area, within the town of New Canaan, and points in between. These vehicles included a black 2015 Chevrolet Suburban, CT plate, 9745cc, registered to the 4 Group and regularly operated by Dulos, a white 2014 Jeep Cherokee Laredo, CT plate, AK25389, registered to the 4 Group and operated by Dulos, Traconis, and Gumiani. A Ford F-150 SVT Raptor, CT plate, 910YFC, high-performance pickup truck, black in color, registered to 4 Group and commonly operated by Dulos. Investigators developed information that in the days leading up to the date of Jennifer's disappearance, the vehicle had been provided by Dulos to his employee, Powell Gumiani, a red 2001 Toyota Tacoma pickup truck, CT plate, 6617CN, associated with Powell Gumiani. Specific components of this vehicle were compared on the video sources to verify vehicle consistency. Surveillance video gleaned from the day prior, May 23, 19, and from the date of the crime, May 24, 19, included the following date, 05/23/19, 4:51 p.m. Surveillance from a residence located just south of Jefferson Crossing on Ely Road shows a vehicle consistent with the 2014 Ford Raptor traveling north on Ely Road towards Jefferson Crossing. 4:54 p.m. Surveillance shows what appears to be Powell Gumiani's Toyota Tacoma traveling south along Ely Road, followed by Fotis Dulos' Ford Raptor. The footage shows these vehicles appearing to travel in tandem on Ely Road from Jefferson Crossing towards 80 Mountain Spring Road. 4:57 p.m. Surveillance capturing the driveway of 80 Mountain Spring Road shows a Toyota Tacoma and a Ford Raptor coming from the direction of Ely Road pulling into the 80 Mountain Spring Road property. 5:01 p.m. Surveillance source shows a Ford Raptor leaving the driveway of 80 Mountain Spring Road and turning onto Mountain Spring Road northbound to travel back towards the Dulos residence. 5:04 p.m. The Ely Road surveillance source shows a Ford Raptor traveling northbound towards the Dulos residence. 5:10 p.m. Data obtained via search warrant from the OnStar module of Dulos' 2014 Ford Raptor indicated the vehicle was located at 4 Jefferson Crossing when the gear shift was placed into drive at 5:10 p.m. 5:32 p.m. Surveillance on Ely Road shows a Chevrolet Suburban with a 4-group placard on its front passenger door traveling south on Ely Road away from Jefferson Crossing and towards Mountain Spring Road. 5:35 p.m. Surveillance on Mountain Spring Road shows a black Chevrolet Suburban coming from the direction of Ely Road and pulling into the driveway of 80 Mountain Spring Road. 5:41 p.m. Surveillance on Mountain Spring Road shows a black Chevrolet Suburban exiting the driveway of 80 Mountain Spring Road. Date 05/24/19, 5:35 a.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. A red Toyota Tacoma pickup truck drives off the property of 80 Mountain Spring Road and turns left onto Mountain Spring Road southbound. 6:36 a.m. RT15S/B, Fairfield. A red Toyota Tacoma consistent with Gumiano's truck was found traveling southbound on the Merritt Parkway, Route 15, passing the Fairfield rest area at 6:36 a.m. 7:03 a.m. RT15SIB, New Canaan. Detectives located a red Toyota Tacoma consistent with Gumiani's truck traveling southbound on the Merritt Parkway, Route 15, passing the New Canaan rest area at 7:03 a.m. 7:05 a.m. Lapham Road, New Canaan. Video from New Canaan school buses showed an empty turnout on Lapham Road southbound just north of the Merritt Parkway overpass at 07:05 a.m. 7:31 a.m. Wheat Street, New Canaan. Video from a residential surveillance system showed a person riding a bicycle in a northwest direction along Wheat Street. The cyclist appeared to be dressed in all dark clothing with a hood pulled down low to hide their face. The bicycle being ridden appeared to be a dark-colored touring bike with the curled ram horn handlebars common on vintage 10-speed bicycles. The bicycle appeared to have metallic, reflective rims. Witness statements, including from Powell Gumiani, and photographic evidence established that Dulos owned a vintage bicycle matching this description. The location of this surveillance falls in line with a 20-minute bike route from the Wavani Park section of Lapham Road, the location at which the Toyota was staged, to 69 Wells Lane. The direction of the rider is towards Wells Lane and away from Wavani Park. 7:40 a.m. Lapham Road, New Canaan. A New Canaan school bus traveling southbound on Lapham Road at 7:40 a.m. showed the same turnout occupied by a red Toyota truck consistent with Gumiano's pickup. This turnoff is within approximately 100 feet of the turnoff that Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban would later be found abandoned. The bed of the truck appeared empty. 7:57 a.m. Lapham Road, New Canaan. At 7:57 a.m. a school bus traveling northbound on Lapham Road showed the Toyota still parked in the same dirt turnout on Lapham Road. 8:05 a.m. Victim arrives home. At 8:05 a.m. Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban is shown on residential security camera driving eastbound along Wells Lane towards her residence after Jennifer dropped off her children at school. 8:05 a.m. to 10:25 a.m. Murder cleanup. at some point between Jennifer's arrival home and 10:25 a.m. The crimes occurred in the garage and the residence. Dulos packages Jennifer using plastic zip ties and places her inside her own 2017 Chevrolet Suburban, CT plate 8J69099. Dulos cleans the garage using supplies he finds in the garage and paper towels from the kitchen. 10:25 a.m. Suspect leaves the scene. At 10:25 a.m. residential surveillance on Wells Lane shows Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban traveling westbound away from 69 Wells Lane. Cellular data obtained from Jennifer's cell phone is consistent with the phone moving from Wells Lane to Lapham Road during this time frame. 11:12 a.m. RT15N/B, New Canaan, the Toyota Tacoma is shown traveling northbound on the Merritt Parkway passing the New Canaan rest area at 11:12 a.m. An object is now visible in the rear bed of the truck which appears to be the rim of a bicycle. 11:25 a.m. RT15N/B, Fairfield, the Toyota Tacoma is seen traveling northbound on the Merritt Parkway passing the Fairfield rest area at 11:25 a.m. 11:40 a.m. RT8N/B, Derby, the Toyota Tacoma is shown traveling northbound on Route 8 passing Valley Transit District, 12, Main Street, Derby, at 11:40 a.m. 12:00 p.m. 184 E/B, Waterbury, the Toyota Tacoma is shown traveling eastbound along 184 N. Waterbury near exit 25A at 12 p.m. 12:22 p.m. 80, Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, residential surveillance shows the Toyota Tacoma pulling into the driveway of 80, Mountain Spring Road at 12:22 p.m. 1:36 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, surveillance shows a white Jeep followed by a black Chevrolet Suburban with a Thule rack pulling into 80, Mountain Spring Road. According to Traconis, she was operating the Jeep and Dulos was driving the Chevrolet. 2:01 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, residential surveillance shows the white Jeep pulling into 80, Mountain Spring Road from the direction of Jefferson Crossing. This follows a call from Dulos to Traconis at 1:53 p.m. at a time his handset is in the area of 80, Mountain Spring Road. This footage is consistent with Traconis' arrival at 80, Mountain Spring Road after receiving the call from Dulos. 2:24 p.m. 80, Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, surveillance shows the white Jeep pulling out of 80, Mountain Spring Road and turning right onto Mountain Spring Road northbound towards Jefferson Crossing. 3:55 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, surveillance shows the Jeep returning to 80 Mountain Spring Road. 4:03 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, residential. Surveillance shows the black Chevrolet Suburban with the Thule rack leaving 80 Mountain Spring Road. 4:23 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, 20 minutes after Traconis drove away in the Chevrolet Suburban. Residential surveillance shows the Suburban returning to 80 Mountain Spring Road. Both Traconis and Dulos' cell phones appear to remain at Jefferson Crossing. 4:58 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, residential surveillance shows the Ford Raptor being operated by Gumiani arriving at 80 Mountain Spring Road. According to his statement, Gumiani has already gone to 4 Jefferson Crossing, having arrived at approximately 4:30 p.m. Gumiani found no one home at the residence and he was unable to raise Dulos by phone. Gumiani went to the kitchen expecting to find the key to his Toyota Tacoma where it is normally kept, but he was unable to find it. Gumiani then drove first to Deercliff Road, and then onto 80 Mountain Spring Road, where he encountered Dulos and Traconis in the driveway. 5:02 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Residential surveillance shows the Ford Raptor leaving the property as Gumiani drives the truck back to Jefferson Crossing. Within approximately 30 seconds, the Jeep is shown backing out of the driveway and stopping on Mountain Spring Road just south of the driveway. The black Chevrolet Suburban then pulls to the end of the driveway and sits for within possible earshot of the Jeep for 10 to 15 seconds for no apparent reason, no traffic passing, before pulling out to travel north on Mountain Spring Road towards Jefferson Crossing. Traconis follows the Suburban northbound in the Jeep. 5:14 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Surveillance shows the Ford Raptor pulling into 80 Mountain Spring Road from the direction of Jefferson Crossing. This is Dulos driving the Ford Raptor with Gumiani as the passenger as Gumiani tries to pick up his Toyota Tacoma. According to Gumiani's statement, when he arrived back at his truck, he noticed the key which had been seen in the passenger door lock has been removed. The absence of the only key to the vehicle prevented Gumiani from driving his vehicle. Dulos offered to let Gumiani take the Ford Raptor for the weekend, but Gumiani said he wanted to transport his dirt bike from Dulos' residence to his own house in Simsbury, and Gumiani wanted to use the Toyota to accomplish this. 5:16 p.m. Dulos' cell phone data shows call to Traconis telling her to return with the keys. 5:24 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Residential surveillance shows the black Chevrolet Suburban entering the driveway as Traconis brings the Toyota keys back to Gumiani. 5:27 p.m. 80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Residential surveillance shows the black Chevrolet Suburban, driven by Traconis, leaving 80 Mountain Spring Road towards Jefferson Crossing. The red Toyota Tacoma, driven by Gumiani, pulls onto Mountain Spring Road northbound seconds later. 5:28 p.m.-80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Residential surveillance shows the Ford Raptor pulling out onto Mountain Spring Road northbound as Dulos leaves. 32. Kent Mawhinney. Kent Mawhinney is a close friend of Dulos and a practicing attorney who lives in South Windsor. His law practice is based in Bloomfield, Connecticut. Mawhinney's name appeared on the alibi scripts written by Dulos and Troconis, and he was identified by Traconis during all three of her interviews as a person present in the four-group office on the morning of May 24, 19 for a meeting with Dulos. Mawhinney was interviewed on June 9, 19 and then again on June 25, 19 by detectives to obtain his personal knowledge of the events which transpired in the four-group office located above the garage of Dulos' residence, and specifically any contact he may have had with Dulos, Traconis, or any other persons on the day of Jennifer's disappearance. Mawhinney's statements included: Mawhinney stated he met Michelle for the first time within the last 30 days of this meeting at, for Jefferson Shing, Farmington. Mawhinney was aware that Fotis had been dating Michelle prior to him meeting her for the first time. Mawhinney stated there was no scheduled meeting with Dulos on the morning of May 24, 19, and he acknowledged he did not see Dulos that morning. In his second interview, Mawhinney changed his account of May 24, 19 to reflect there was a prearranged meeting with Dulos that morning. Mawhinney continued to maintain he did not see Dulos that morning. Mawhinney indicated he arrived at 4 Jefferson Crossing at approximately 7:40, where he remained for approximately 40 to 50 minutes before leaving. When asked if he had contact with Dulos on May 23, 19, the day before Jennifer's disappearance, Mawhinney claimed he could not remember. Dulos' phone records showed an outgoing call to Mawhinney on May 23, 19 at 5:33 p.m. Mawhinney denied any phone contact with Dulos on May 24, 19. Dulos' phone records documented an outgoing call to Mawhinney on May 24, 19 at 7:47 p.m. During his second interview with police, Mawhinney reported he had received a concussion resulting from a fall down a set of stairs on the May 25, 19, the day after Jennifer's disappearance. Mawhinney reported he had to replace his cell phone after the fall damaged the phone LS screen. Mawhinney reported he still had no memory of seeing Dulos or Traconis on May 24, 19. Mawhinney reported he could not remember any incoming phone call on May 24, 19 at 8:26 a.m. When pressed on whether he answered any calls that morning, Mawhinney responded, "Why would I direct someone to answer a phone?" Detectives had to explain to Mawhinney that was not answering the question being asked several times. In her third interview, Traconis did assert that Mawhinney had directed her to answer an incoming call to Dulos' cell phone, which was lying on the desk in the four-group office. In his first interview, Mawhinney had denied having any contact whatsoever with Dulos on May 24, 19. In his second interview, prior to any questions by detectives on the topic, Mawhinney stated, "Don't remember having contact with him, Dulos. If there's a phone call, I guess I did. But I don't remember having contact with Fotis." Maloney was asked if he would know why Dulos would have contacted him while dumping evidence into trash receptacles in Hartford, Connecticut. Maloney reiterated that he did not remember any kind of contact with Dulos, and did not know why Fotis would call him while he was disposing of evidence. 33. Powell Gumiani. At the time of Jennifer's disappearance, Powell Gumiani was the project manager with 4 Group, having been a full-time employee of Dulos' company since 2016. Gumiani worked with Dulos daily and considered himself to be a friend of Dulos. Gumiani routinely operated the 2001 Toyota Tacoma, CT plate, 6617CN, registered to his wife, Barbara Gumiani. Barbara had her own vehicle and did not drive the Toyota truck. According to Gumiani, the vehicle had some mechanical issues but was reliable enough for him to use to drive the approximate nine-mile trip to Dulos' T residence in Farmington. Gumiani would regularly leave the Toyota parked at 4 Jefferson Crossing during the work week, and Dulos would provide him a 4-group vehicle to drive, usually the Ford Raptor or the Jeep Cherokee. During the week when the Toyota was parked at 4 Jefferson Crossing, Gumiani would leave the sole vehicle, key, at Dulos' residence. Gumiani provided multiple voluntary interviews with investigators. The third 8-hour interview took place on July 12, 19, at the Troop G barracks, during which Gumiani was accompanied by defense attorney Lindy Urso. Following this first interview, and with the permission of attorney Urso, Gumiani provided information to detectives on several subsequent occasions. The information provided by Gumiani over the course of these conversations includes the following. Gumiani explained Dulos told him he would get in trouble if he talked to police because Gumiani only had a green card, a permanent resident card. Dulos contacted an attorney on behalf of Gumiani who, in turn, referred Gumiani to attorney Urso. Gumiani routinely drives a 4-group vehicle during his work week. He would leave the Toyota Tacoma at the 4-group office for Jefferson Crossing and would leave the key either in the 4-group office or the kitchen of the residence on either May 17, 19 or on May 20, 19. Dulos asked Gumiani if he could move Gumiani's truck to 80 Mountain Spring Road because the truck was leaking oil. On May 23, 19, Dulos told Gumiani to forego stopping at the 4-group office on the following morning because Dulos was having a meeting with his divorce lawyer. Dulos told Gumiani he was to drive straight to New Canaan on May 24, 19. Gumiani stated he routinely does not stop at the office unless he needed to pick up something. On the morning of May 24, 19, Gumiani was operating the 2014 Ford Raptor registered to 4-group and loaned to him the previous day by Dulos. The Raptor OnStar module download showed the vehicle being shifted into drive at 7:55 a.m. at or near Gumiani's residence in Simsbury. Gumiani's and Dulos' cellular records show a text conversation between the men which occurred on May 24, 19 at 2:13 p.m. in which Dulos asked Gumiani when he was returning to the office. Gumiani reported he would be at 4 Jefferson Crossing at approximately 4:30 p.m. Gumiani reported when he arrived at the 4-group office, he found no one was there. Gumiani tried calling and texting Dulos repeatedly but was not able to reach him. He searched for the key to his Toyota but could not find it. Gumiani drove to 585 Deercliff Road to retrieve a board he used as a ramp for his dirt bike. Gumiani then drove to 80 Mountain Spring Road to see if Dulos was there. When he arrived, he saw both Traconis and Dulos in the driveway. He reported they both looked surprised to see him. Gumiani asked Dulos what they were doing, and he reported they were cleaning. Dulos reported Traconis was cleaning windows while he was cleaning some stuff up outside. Gumiani reported he noticed Dulos and Traconis were not holding any cleaning products and there were no products near the vehicles. A short time later, all three left the property, each driving a separate vehicle. Gumiani was driving the Ford Raptor, Dulos was driving his Chevrolet Suburban, and Traconis driving the Jeep. Gumiani's Toyota Tacoma remained in the driveway. He noticed the car key was sticking out of the passenger door lock. Gumiani drove first to 585 Deercliff Road, then to 4 Jefferson Crossing to pick up Dulos before returning to 80 Mountain Spring Road to pick up his Toyota truck. When they arrived, Gumiani realized the sole key to his Toyota, which minutes before had been seen by him protruding from the passenger door, was now gone. Dulos asked Gumiani if he wanted to take the Ford Raptor home. But Gumiani told Dulos he wanted to put his dirt bike in the bed of his Toyota and take it home. Dulos called Traconis and told her to bring back the key, and Traconis arrived a few minutes later with the key. On Sunday, May 26, 19, Dulos spoke with Gumiani and told him Jennifer was missing. He went on to ask Gumiani when he would be returning to work. As the next day was Memorial Day, Gumiani told Dulos he would be back to work on Tuesday. When Gumiani arrived at work on May 28, 19, he walked into Dulos' kitchen and handed him the key to his Toyota, as he would be using a 4-group vehicle for the work week. Dulos asked Gumiani where he was on Friday, which Gumiani found to be a strange question because he knew where Gumiani was. He was working at the 61 Sturbridge Hill Road job site in New Canaan, as Dulos had told him to do. Dulos told Gumiani that police had seized his phone, and he asked to see Gumiani's phone because he wanted to check to see if Gumiani had called him during the early portion of Friday. As he looked through Gumiani's phone, Dulos asked Gumiani how he had gotten back to the 4-group office on Friday. As Gumiani reviewed that Friday afternoon, he mentioned the aspect of how Dulos had called Traconis to return the Toyota key to 80 Mountain Spring Road. Dulos told Gumiani there was no reason to bring Michelle into this, and to leave that part out. Gumiani took that to mean Dulos was telling him not to tell police about Traconis having possession of the Toyota key. Following the conversation, Gumiani went to his truck to get a toolbox and saw a red pail with a blue hoodie inside it. Gumiani did not recognize the pail or the sweatshirt. Assuming the items belonged to Dulos, Gumiani brought the items into the house and left them in the laundry room. Gumiani then drove the 4-group Jeep to 61 Sturbridge Hill Road in New Canaan to work for the day. On Wednesday, May 29, 19, Gumiani discovered his Toyota was not parked where he had left it at 4 Jefferson Crossing. When he called Dulos to inquire where his truck was, Dulos told him he was coming back with the vehicle from a car wash. When he arrived back at Jefferson Crossing with the truck, Dulos began telling Gumiani he should replace the seats or sell the entire truck. Dulos offered to sell Gumiani the 4-group Jeep, but Gumiani declined. When Gumiani got into the Tacoma, he realized that the vehicle had not just been washed, but had been detailed as well. At some point during that week, Dulos called Gumiani to tell him that the media was outside his house. He told Gumiani to come get the Toyota and to park it inside the garage or to take the truck home. On May 30th, 19, Dulos told Gumiani he should go to a junkyard to buy replacement seats for the Toyota and pay cash for them. Dulos told him he would reimburse whatever the cost was to Gumiani in cash. Dulos also told Gumiani that during future phone calls he was to avoid using the word seats and should, instead, refer to the seats as hardware. On May 31st, 19, at Dulos' urging, Gumiani went to a junkyard and spent 2 hours looking for seats to replace those currently in his Toyota. After his search was unsuccessful, Gumiani received a phone call from Dulos, who was inquiring on his progress on the hardware. Gumiani responded that he was working on it. When Gumiani returned to the office, Dulos appeared angry that he had failed to find replacement seats, and he described Dulos as being firm in his viewpoint the seats needed to be replaced. When Gumiani asked Dulos why he wanted him to change the seats, Dulos told Gumiani not to worry about it, that nothing happened, and repeated he should not worry about it. Gumiani pressed Dulos on why he had cleaned the Tacoma and why he was insisting on the seats being changed. Dulos then told Gumiani the reason lay in the fact that when he went to Jennifer's house on Mother's Day, he had given Jennifer a hug, adding he had also held Jennifer's cat during the visit. Dulos claimed he was worried that one of Jennifer's hairs could be found in the Tacoma. Dulos told Gumiani to change the Tacoma seats and get rid of the old ones so no one would ever find them. The only alternative Gumiani could think of was to use the seats from Dulos' wrecked Porsche, which he removed on May 31st, 19. After removing the Tacoma seats and substituting the Porsche seats, he remained suspicious about Dulos' claimed reasons for having the seats removed. Instead of getting rid of the seats, Gumiani kept the seats in the garage of his residence in case the police ever wanted to take them. On June 6, 19, WDMCS personnel were executing a search-seizure warrant at Gumiani's residence involving the seizure of his Toyota Tacoma. Without prompting, Gumiani advised Sergeant Albisson that the seats had been changed subsequent to Jennifer's May 24, 19 disappearance. Gumieni offered the seats installed in the Tacoma at the time of the crime to Sergeant Bisson, who seized them using a written consent to search, DPS 197C, form signed by Gumieni. During the July 12, 19 interview, Gumieni was shown a surveillance picture of the Toyota Tacoma, which he immediately identified without hesitation as his truck. Gumieni displayed what appeared to be genuine surprise upon learning his Toyota was caught on surveillance in New Canaan on May 24, 19. In identifying his own vehicle, Gumieni pointed out specific aspects on the vehicle, including a unique plow mount which he had handmade. Gumieni voluntarily provided his cell phone, for which a search-seizure warrant was sought and granted. A forensic examination of the phone showed certain items had been deleted. When asked about the deletions, Gumieni vehemently denied deleting any material from the phone. In reviewing the deleted material, it is notable that on May 28, 19 Dulos had physical possession of Gumieni's unlocked cell phone in order to check his call history. The deleted items included web history, entire web history from beginning of phone history, earliest date August 28, 17, deleted up until May 27, 19. The next intact entry dated May 30, 19, searched items searches from April 2, 19 to May 27, 19 deleted. Searches prior to April 2, 19 sporadically deleted. Searches on May 30, 19 moving forward not deleted. Call log May 25, 19 to May 26, 19 at 7:39 p.m. deleted. Next entry at 7:53 p.m. not deleted, 34. Lauren Almeida. Detectives interviewed Lauren Almeida, the longtime childcare employee hired by Jennifer starting in May of 2013 as a full-time nanny working with the 5 Dulos children, working closely with Jennifer until the day of her disappearance. On Tuesday, May 21, 2019, Ms. Almeida worked at Jennifer's home located at 69 Wells Lane in New Canaan, cleaning up the 3rd, South, garage bay by stacking the children's equipment on shelves. On Wednesday, May 22, 2019, Ms. Almeida was at 69 Wells Lane preparing for a supervised visit which was scheduled to start at 4:30 p.m. 30 minutes prior to Dulos' scheduled arrival, Jennifer ran down the stairs saying that Dulos had already arrived. By the time Jennifer contacted Dulos, he had driven all the way up the driveway and was near the garage bays. He claimed he was confused about the time of the visit, despite the routine time of 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. being established and confirmed by Dulos well in advance. Dulos was also aware he was not to enter the property of 69 Wells Lane prior to the arrival of Dennis Puebla, the third-party observer, or Puebla's designee. The plan for the May 22, 19 visitation was for Dulos to take the children to Grace Farms in New Canaan for a picnic. Dulos suddenly realized that Grace Farms closed at 6 p.m. that date and gained Jennifer's permission to return to 69 Wells Lane to picnic with the children outside the house in the rear yard. Jennifer's agreement was partially attributable to the fact that Sidney Streeter, a third-party observer and designee of Puebla, would be at the home monitoring Dulos at all times. Jennifer and Ms. Almeida took steps to ensure Dulos did not enter the residence, as Jennifer was strictly opposed to Dulos ever entering the home. They placed the food out on the rear patio table and locked the rear mudroom door to prevent Dulos from entering the kitchen. On May 23, 19, Jennifer discussed the possibility of Ms. Almeida staying overnight at 69 Wells Lane, as Jennifer had an early doctor appointment in the city the next morning. Jennifer ultimately decided she would stay in New Canaan, bring the children to school per usual, then leave for the appointment. She told Ms. Almeida it would not be necessary for her to stay at Wells Lane that night. Jennifer also told Ms. Almeida she was planning on taking the Range Rover to the city because it was smaller and easier to park than the Suburban. On May 24, 19, Ms. Almeida arrived at 69 Wells Lane at 11:30 a.m. As usual, she opened the center bay garage door via the keypad and immediately noticed the Range Rover was still parked in the garage while the Suburban was gone. Upon entering the kitchen, she noticed Jennifer's handbag was on the floor in the doorway between the mudroom and kitchen, and she found Jennifer's unopened granola bar and mug of tea on the kitchen counter. As she washed Jennifer's mug, Ms. Almeida noticed the paper towel roll near the sink needed replacement. She went to the pantry for a new roll and found only 2 fresh rolls were left. Ms. Almeida found this incredibly strange because just the night before she had placed a brand new pack of 12 rolls in the pantry. Ms. Almeida wrote, Elle sat there and wondered what had happened last night that they used 10 rolls of towel rolls, after picking up 4 of the children, as the 5th went directly to a friend's home. Ms. Almeida returned to Wells Lane and fed the children lunch in the kitchen. At 12:43 p.m., Ms. Almeida sent a text message to Jennifer which went unanswered. As she and the children prepared to leave the home, Ms. Almeida noticed the rear mudroom door which led outside was unlocked. This door was routinely locked unless the children were playing in the backyard. After locking this door, Ms. Almeida sent another text message to Jennifer at 1:10 p.m. that she would be arriving in New York City with the children at 2:30 p.m. This message also went unanswered. Upon arrival at the apartment of Jennifer's mother, Gloria Farber, Ms. Almeida sent another text to Jennifer announcing their arrival which gleaned no response. At 4 p.m. a call to Jennifer's cell phone went straight to voicemail. Ms. Almeida wrote, Immediately my stomach sank, and I had a feeling that something was wrong. In the almost 7 years that I have worked for Jennifer, I never ever had a hard time reaching her and never had an issue with her phone being off. After discovering Jennifer never showed for the children's orthodontist appointment at 4:40 p.m., Ms. Almeida's reaction was my first thought was that Fotis did something. After pondering other possible scenarios, Ms. Almeida arrived back at the feeling that something happened and that Fotis was most likely involved. At this point, Ms. Almeida contacted Gloria Farber and checked with other close friends and relatives of Jennifer, none of whom had heard from her. After returning to Gloria Farber's apartment, Ms. Almeida and Jennifer's close friend, Laurel Watts, contacted the New Canaan Police Department to report Jennifer as missing, telling NCPDA that a mother of 5 children was missing and that she was going through a divorce with a man that has threatened her in the past and owns a gun. After confirming with NCPD they had spoken with Dulos and it was all right to accept his incoming calls, Ms. Almeida called Dulos at 8:41 p.m. Ms. Almeida explained that during the call, Fotis never asked me how Jennifer was doing the day previously, or when I had last heard from her, or showed any concern about the fact that Jennifer was missing. Fotis did ask how the kids were doing and asked if I had all the kids at Gloria's apartment. He went on to remind Ms. Almeida that he had a visitation with the kids at 11 a.m. Saturday morning and that I must bring them to this visit. He told me that I needed to make sure I woke up early enough to leave New York City so that I am not late. After agreeing to Dulos' request, Dulos told her that the kids really needed him right now, that this visitation still needed to happen. On May 25th, 19 Dulos' first text to Ms. Almeida arrived at 5:39 a.m. GM, Good morning, Lauren, any news? Ms. Almeida replied there was no news. Throughout the day, Dulos called Ms. Almeida and texted her asking about the children, asking if there was any news, and attempts to verify Ms. Almeida was bringing the children for the visitation. On May 26th, 19 Dulos continued to text Ms. Almeida about the status of the children and whether they were all together in New York. At noon, Dulos showed up unannounced at Gloria Farber's Manhattan apartment and demanded entry. The doorman had already been instructed to prevent Dulos from entering the building due to ongoing family court issues and the fact that Dulos was unwelcome at Gloria Farber's residence. New York City police responded to the scene and were told by Dulos that his children had been abducted and that he was demanding to see them. NYPD officers spoke with New Canaan police and confirmed that Dulos was prohibited by court order from visiting with his children unsupervised. Dulos was told to leave the property and ultimately complied. Jennifer's friend, Carrie Luft, filed a domestic violence report regarding the incident with NYPD. On May 27, 19 at 5:31 p.m. Dulos texted Ms. Almeida to check on the children. Following her reply that the children were fine, Dulos texted, "Thanks for your response, please send me updates every 3 hours. I do not want to feel that I am pestering you, but please understand that I am the father and I am extremely concerned with the situation." Dulos did not ask anything about Jennifer and Ms. Almeida provided him with no response. During this investigation, Ms. Almeida was shown photographs of the south garage bay taken during WDMC's crime van processing. As she was familiar with the arrangement of items, having set many of them in place herself, Ms. Almeida was asked if she noted any changes. She reported that 2 white camping pillows were missing from the shelves. These camping pillows are never touched and were used only twice by the kids during a school trip. She had noticed the pillows within the past 2 months while searching for an old towel to use for an activity with the children. In another photograph, Ms. Almeida noticed a cleaning supply bucket was missing from the shelving. The bucket had been either red or white and it contained cleaning supplies used by the housekeeper. Ms. Almeida had placed the bucket on the shelf on May 21, 19 as she cleaned the garage for Jennifer, 35. Dana Hinman. Detectives conducted interviews with many of Dulos' known associates and friends, including Dana Hinman, a longtime friend of Dulos who was present at a barbecue at the Waterski Pond, 230 Old Farms Road, Avon, Connecticut, on May 31, 19 when Dulos and Traconis arrived at the pond. The property owner, Hutch Haynes, who was also a friend of Dulos, mentioned that it might not be appropriate for Dulos and Traconis to be at the barbecue considering Jennifer had just been reported missing. Haynes suggested that Dulos and Traconis return to their home. Dulos, however, remained at the pond. Hinman raised the question to Dulos, "Where is Jennifer?" Dulos' response was to talk about $15,000 in medical bills which Jennifer had accrued. At one point, Hinman remarked to Dulos about breaking news which was coming over his cell phone that detectives were in Hartford finding trash bags possibly related to the case in city garbage receptacles along Albany Avenue. Hinman wrote, "Fotis watched the news story and eventually looked up at Michelle and sort of locked eyes with her for a second." Dulos then walked away from the group and began making calls on his cell phone. Hinman's assumption was that Dulos was talking to his attorney, 36. Sidney Streeter. Sidney Streeter was a third-party observer who works with Dennis Puebla to monitor Dulos during the supervised visits with his children. Ms. Streeter was the observer present on May 22, 19 at 69 Wells Lane when Dulos brought his children home from Grace Farms and picnicked with them in the rear yard of Jennifer's home. Ms. Streeter told police that Dulos never entered Jennifer's residence during the visit. 37. Dulos Financials. Information has been provided pursuant to a court-ordered sharing agreement with our law enforcement partners pertaining to the apparent financial standing of Fotis Dulos and his business accounts, a portion of which is summarized below. It is noteworthy that Dulos is currently involved in an ongoing civil suit brought against him by Gloria Farber, the mother of Jennifer Farber Dulos, in which $2.5 million, $2,500,000, is in dispute. This suit was started in 2018 and Dulos was aware of the potential financial exposure at the time of Jennifer's disappearance. Dulos' lending portfolio currently consists of several loan accounts. Multiple lines of credit have a current balance due as of May 31, 2019 of approximately $4,499,847.85. There are also numerous mortgages held against his construction properties. Of note is a Savings Bank of Danbury line of credit opened by Dulos under the name of his company, For Group Incorporated, in March of 2018. The line of credit has a maximum draw of approximately $2.7 million, $2,700,000, which was extended as of May 2019 with a balance due of approximately $2.6 million, $2,600,000. It appears beginning approximately April 1, 18 through May 31, 19 that Dulos began funding the For Group Incorporated business checking account held at People's United Bank with advances from DSB line of credit totaling approximately $1.6 million, $1,660,570. Also, during this time period, the For Group Incorporated business account was funded by additional line of credit advances to include People's United Bank loan totaling approximately $530,000. In April 2019, at a time when the DSB account was nearing its maximum limit, Dulos received a wire in for $149,500 from Snap Advance Cash Advance, a merchant cash advance company based in Utah. Also, during the above referenced time period, Dulos received 3 insurance checks from Chubb Insurance Company totaling $193,610.64. All 3 checks were payable to Fotis and Jennifer Dulos. Bank records indicated that all 3 checks were deposited into a joint checking held at People's United Bank and that Jennifer did not sign the back of any of the 3 checks. Following each deposit, the funds were immediately withdrawn by means of either a withdrawal slip or a check made payable to Fotis Dulos. All of the above funds were transferred to Dulos' personal account, some of which was then transferred to the 4 Group Incorporated business account. No indication was found that any portion of the above proceeds designated by Chubb Insurance Company to Jennifer and Fotis Dulos was transferred to Jennifer. The above advances made up approximately 71% of the overall deposits going into the 4 Group Incorporated account for the period of April 1, 2018 through May 31, 2019, totaling approximately $3.5 million, $3,500,000. The 4 Group Incorporated business checking account held at People's United Bank for the period referenced above had a beginning balance of approximately $277,000, to which an additional $3.5 million, $3,500,000 was deposited, allowing approximately $3.7 million, $3,700,000 in withdrawals. Out of the $3.7 million in withdrawals, $1.8 million, $1,800,000 consisted of checks to payable Fotis Dulos. It appears as the above referenced period progressed, Dulos' debt increased significantly. At the same time, his ability to support his business through line advances diminished, causing him to seek other means of funding his business, such as through the Snap Advance Wire LN in April 2019. Also, in March, April, and May 2019, Dulos was not making the interest payments on the loan with People's United Bank, and the bank was advancing the remaining minor balance to make the payments due. Refer to the chart on the following page for a visual representation of the above information. As May 31, 19, Dulos' debt exposure totaled approximately $7 million, consisting of approximately $4.5 million in balances due on lines of credit, in addition to a possible $2.5 million due in a civil lawsuit. It appears that Dulos was failing to make even minimal interest due payments on multiple loans. Each of the 5 Dulos children had a trust fund established by Gloria Farber and her late husband, Hilliard Farber. The total amount of these trusts was more than $2 million. In the event of Jennifer's disappearance, and in the subsequent event that Dulos gained custody of his children, Dulos would have expected some level of access to the children's trust funds via an intermediary for such expenditures as room and board, education, and others. Dulos can reasonably be expected to have been aware of these facts. 38. Indications that Jennifer Dulos is not alive. The following indications have been determined that Jennifer Dulos is no longer alive. Finances. Jennifer's mother, Gloria Farber, has been power of attorney for her daughter's finances since June 19, 19. Jennifer's last known financial activity was a check written by Jennifer on May 23, 19. The last known activity on Jennifer Dulos' checking account was May 23, 19. There has been no subsequent activity on any of her known accounts since that date. Detectives have checked with Jennifer's cellular carrier, Verizon Wireless, who has reported no activity on her cell phone since May 24, 19. Detectives have remained in regular contact with Jennifer's family and close friends, none of whom have seen or heard from her since May 24, 19. No information has come to light from area medical centers that Jennifer received any in-person treatment subsequent to May 24, 19. There has been no account holder-initiated billing or filing activity with her insurance carriers subsequent to May 24, 19. Law enforcement agencies throughout Connecticut and the surrounding states have been contacted. Law enforcement databases, e.g., Collect, NCIC, NAMUS, have been accessed and checked. Numerous physical searches have been conducted in the New Canaan and Farmington areas, and several media outlets have broadcast news stories outlining this case. To date, the whereabouts of Jennifer Dulos is unknown. 39. Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, that on August 15, 19, affiant Kimball met with Dr. James R. Gill, Chief Medical Examiner for the State of Connecticut. Dr. Gill was presented with a summary of facts thus far, including the forensic laboratory results indicating the presence of blood in multiple locations at Jennifer Dulos' residence, crime scene, the presence of her DNA associated with those bloodstains, the evidence of efforts to clean the scene, and the nature of the blood spatter analysis. Dr. Gill was also advised of facts associated with items of evidence recovered in Hartford which were forensically linked back to Jennifer Dulos. Dr. Gill was also provided photographs of the crime scene and evidence seized in Hartford to assist in his assessment. Following his consideration of the above facts and circumstances, Dr. Gill indicated that based upon the facts of the investigation, the degree of blood loss, as well as other factors, he was prepared to state that Jennifer Dulos had sustained an injury, or multiple injuries, which he would consider not survivable without medical intervention. Dr. Gill categorized the event as a homicide of violence to likely include some combination of traumatic, blunt force injuries such as a bludgeoning/beating, and or sharp force injuries such as a stabbing/slashing. 40. Charges that the Penal Code of the Connecticut General Statutes outlines the crime of conspiracy, Sector 53A48, which states, in Part A, a person is guilty of conspiracy when, with intent that conduct constituting a crime be performed, he agrees with one or more persons to engage in or cause the performance of such conduct, and any one of them commits an overt act in pursuance of such conspiracy. That the Penal Code of the Connecticut General Statutes outlines the crime of murder, Sector 53A54A, which states, in Part A, a person is guilty of murder when, with intent to cause the death of another person, he causes the death of such person or of a third person or causes a suicide by force, duress, or deception, except that in any prosecution under this subsection, it shall be an affirmative defense that the defendant committed the prescribed act or acts under the influence of extreme emotional disturbance for which there was a reasonable explanation or excuse, the reasonableness of which is to be determined from the viewpoint of a person in the defendant's situation under the circumstances as the defendant believed them to be, provided nothing contained in this subsection shall constitute a defense to a prosecution for, or preclude a conviction of, manslaughter in the first degree or any other crime. 41. That based upon the above facts and circumstances, affiant John Kimball asserts there to be probable cause to believe that Michelle C. Troconis, D.O.B., September 26, 1974, did on Friday, May 24, 2019, in the town of New Canaan, Connecticut, commit the following crimes on the person of Jennifer Farber Dulos which resulted in her death. 42. That affiant John Kimball requests the review of this affidavit by the court and the issuance of a felony arrest warrant for Michelle C. Troconis, D.O.B., September 26, 1974, and the above charges should there be a finding of probable cause.
Drop your comments and tell me what you think, and with that, it is a wrap. Everybody, I thank you for coming in. Please make sure you click that like, the subscribe, and the bell for notifications so you do not miss the next time we drop a video and or a go live. Everybody, have a good day or a good night wherever you are in the world, and stay vigilant. I am out.